All right, so I think we will start straight, from the new topic.
Yeah,
Sunu, can you please mute?
that is correct. That is that is right. The karma, ശരിയാണല്ലോ ആ സമയത്തായിരിക്കും അതാണ്.
Okay, guys. So we'll start today with another topic, S3. We skipped a couple of small topics, not small topics, important topics in both VPC and EC2, which we will cover after a later time because these things are all needed in order to complete those things. So today, just wanted to talk about S3, Simple Storage Service. Very famous, most popular storage technology in the industry today. After Amazon, S3 has come, companies like Microsoft and other cloud providers came up with a similar solution. This is an object-based storage. Minhas, can you please mute? Thank you. So this is called an object-based storage. Similar to S3, Microsoft Azure has a storage. Does anybody know the name of it? Just curious. Similar to S3, Microsoft has a storage solution very similar to S3, an object-based storage. Anybody?
Yeah, 5 minutes ഉള്ളൂ.
Anybody? Nobody answers? Okay. So Microsoft has a similar solution called blob storage, BLOB. BLOB stands for binary large objects. So if you go to Microsoft Azure and you're looking for a similar storage, an object-based storage, the answer is blob. Now blob has multiple variants of it. So it is little more complicated and little more deeper in architecture and all when it comes to blob compared to S3. S3 is much more simpler, straightforward, simple, durable, scalable object storage. So Amazon Simple Storage Service S3 is an object storage with a simple web service interface. So a good example for Amazon S3, Dropbox. I think most of you are familiar with Dropbox. Actually, in fact, Dropbox is using S3 as the backend storage. Okay, so Dropbox and there are many other companies are taking advantage of S3. So my question here is, can you attach your Dropbox to your Windows server or Linux server? Is it possible? Can you attach it as a drive? You have a Dropbox
No,
account. Can you attach it? So I think that is
you can.
probably the easiest way to make you understand. So S3 is a storage. It is an object-based storage. It can only be accessed using web services APIs. So you cannot attach S3 storage to a server. but by using different APIs, web services APIs and other third-party tools, you can access S3. But you cannot attach S3 as a storage to a server. Okay. Okay, Sunu, can you please mute? You've been talking. We were all hearing all your conversation. Okay, let me unmute everybody. Okay. Guys who came late, please mute yourself, okay?
Huh?
Sunu, can you please mute? Otherwise, I have to mute you.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you please mute? All right, thanks. All right. So S3 is very famous, very popular. It is designed to deliver, look at this 11 nines, 99.99999% durability and scale past trillions of objects worldwide. You can put trillions of objects, you can put terabytes of data in it. All you need is what you use, you pay for it. Okay, guys, hold on one second. I sent the email with yesterday's video to everybody. I'm not sure why you guys are not getting it. I will try to resend it again. Okay. I sent yesterday's video today morning. Yeah. So a lot of people are saying they got it. So I don't know. I don't know. We can look into it, Ravi. And I also see Yogendra was talking about he didn't get my day before. Now, remember, I deleted all my previous thing, and this is something I told you from day one. Please don't come to me and ask for videos from class 7, class 6. No. I can send you class 7, 8, and 9 probably. Okay. That's it. So you got to download your videos, but if you didn't get it, no problem. I will send it to you, Ravi and Yogendra. Okay, class 8 and class 9 videos, and today's class video I will send it tonight. So, this is actually S3 storage. It is very redundant. So basically, how they are getting that high level of redundancy is like this, and you all got an idea now how our region looks like, and it is S3 storage is region specific. It is every region has its own S3. So this is a different availability zones in a region. So let's say this is Virginia, and in the Virginia they have a S3 storage on every availability zone. Okay. Now this itself will be a storage array. We don't know what type of storage array. It could be via Amazon or EMC VMAX, or it could be NetApp, or it could be their own custom storage solutions. Nobody knows, and Amazon will never reveal that to anybody. So they have basically the storage array sitting in all these availability zones. And if you write an X or one data into this, automatically this data gets replicated to all these locations. Now, not all locations, I believe, this is something you cannot find in readings. I went through one of their deep dive sessions, and that is where I find out this is how they store it. So it will be pretty much, so if you write another letter A, the A will be stored here, and A will be stored probably here also. So at least in 3 different locations, your data is stored and replicated synchronously so that it is highly available. So what Amazon is saying, that is why they are saying 99.9999911 because of that high availability. Now there are techniques behind it, how they replicate the data, how they store the data, how they provide the thing. So the data, you can kind of guarantee that whatever you put it in S3 is kind of safe. Now if you delete something, it is gone. Okay, but from a hardware perspective or something going wrong in Amazon side, you are going to lose your data. The chances are very less. Now if you are worried about, there is a nuke attack in Virginia and the entire Virginia is blown away, you're going to lose all your data. But S3 also has some kind of a replication technique where you can replicate your data to another region if you want. For example, you can replicate it to Oregon or to Mumbai or to any other location. You can replicate from one region to another, but you go to pay for that traffic or the data transfer between the regions. But it is absolutely possible to transfer or to replicate your data from one region to another region. Okay. So let's get on to the product details here. Just wanted to quickly go through some of the thing, and then we will get on to the S3 and then try to create some buckets and play around with it. It is very interesting, very simple topic, but it is there is a lot of things, and believe me, from a certification point, I'm pretty sure you're going to get at least 1 or 2 questions from S3 for sure. S3 stores data as objects within resources called buckets. So we will see what a bucket is. Bucket is very similar to a folder, but there are certain principles you need to follow, certain standards you need to follow. Buckets have certain naming characteristics. Buckets have certain other properties. So we will see what a bucket is. But just now, for now, you understand a bucket is nothing but a folder where you can store your objects. So once you store your objects in your bucket, you can write to it, you can read it, you can delete it, and so the concept here in S3 is this is a very common terminology what people say. It is called as write once. Okay, write once. I wrote it wrong. Okay, write once and read many. That means you can write it, or you can put a file into S3 bucket, and then you can read that file millions of times. Yeah, it is not, it is write, W-R-I-T, writing a data, not write, not this write. Okay. It is writing. So you can write data. When you're putting some data, you call it as writing. So it is actually, you can write data and read, delete, and you can do all the actions you can take on that object when you put it in a thing. An object is nothing but a file. That is what in an S3 bucket, an object is a file. And that file can be up to 5 terabytes in size. Just imagine you can put a single file that is 5 terabytes in size, maybe a huge database MDB file, maybe a VM's disk, a VM with around 2 terabyte of VMDK file. You can upload that into Amazon S3. Now Amazon has certain kind of concepts. When you're uploading a large file, there is something called as multi-part uploading. So if you have a 5 terabyte file, Amazon is not going to upload that 5 terabyte file as one time. What they do is they break that 1 terabyte file into multiple smaller chunks, and then they upload each individual chunk into S3, and then once it reaches there, they will assemble it all together. So that is called as a multi-part upload. You can use multi-part upload to do that. And if you use Amazon's command line, we will learn CLI. I thought of doing that today, but then I think we'll cover those topics later. But when you use Amazon command line interface and all, it automatically know how to break these files into smaller pieces and read it. So you can put millions of files, terabyte of storage you can use in Amazon S3. You can also apply permissions on these buckets and files. In fact, I would say the objects. You can decide who can create, who can delete, who can retrieve objects from a bucket. You can also put it on an object base, and you can say, who can read it, who can do that. Everything is actually configured. It's possible. So you can set permissions to the files and objects that you put it inside a bucket. So some of the key features I just wanted to quickly read. Amazon S3 is built for simplicity with a web-based management console. You can use mobile app and full REST API, so you can also write APIs programs to store it there. Durability, S3 is available in regions around the world and includes geographic redundancy within each region, as well as the option to replicate across regions. I mentioned that. It includes geographic redundancy within a region. It provides the redundancy, high availability within a region, and I told you, it will replicate between the storage arrays within different availability zones. And you know that availability zones are nothing but separate physical data centers. So your data is getting replicated to multiple data centers. So even if a data center got a fire and flood or something, your data is still intact and you can access it from there. You also have the option to replicate your S3 data across regions. There is also an option of keeping multiple versions of an object in case if that is your choice. If you have a file and you want to keep modifying the file and you want to keep multiple versions of it, that is possible. Scalability, customers around the world depend on Amazon S3 to safeguard trillions of objects every day. You need S3 kind of storage. S3 is comparatively very, very, very cheap compared to EBS. And you all know what an EBS block storage, that is a block storage. That is the storage that we use to attach to a server. Now, if you want to store 5 terabyte of data, do you store it on a Windows server attached with a 5 terabyte EBS volume, or do you store it in S3? These are all decisions that you need to make. If you want to keep it, for a long term and things like that, I would definitely prefer S3 as the storage option to do that. In fact, Amazon's multiple services like CloudWatch, CloudTrail, CloudConfig, ELB logs, snapshots, all these services in Amazon also take advantage of S3 because S3 is where these services store their data. CloudWatch stores all the logging information in S3. CloudConfig stores all the configuration information in S3. When you take a snapshot of an instance or a volume, that snapshot is actually compressed and stored in S3. So S3 is definitely the choice for storing this type of data because it is very cheap, very durable, things like that. So that is the thing. So it is scalable. You can put trillions of data. Security-wise, anything you are putting into Amazon S3, and it is web-based APIs. Anything you want to put it in Amazon, you have to use a web-based interface, and it is actually worked on SSL. So anything you are putting into Amazon S3 is encrypted. Meaning not the data is encrypted when you're transferring. So you guys are downloading my videos. I'm uploading my videos from my home to Amazon S3 in Virginia. You guys are downloading that files from the Virginia bucket where I shared, and you're downloading it to your computer. During that transit, the file in transit, during that time, the entire transaction is encrypted. Nobody can copy that file or spoof it. You also have the option to encrypt the data on rest. If you have some data, a very confidential file, you are scared of somebody in Amazon might probably grab it. If they get it, probably it may be the password for the nuclear bomb or something. You want to put it in Amazon S3, but how do you make sure that it is protected? So there is an option to encrypt the data at rest. Encryption at rest is actually also getting a lot of momentum. According to Amazon, actually, all our EBS volumes we can encrypt, right? When you create a EBS volume, you have an option to encrypt that entire volume. Just like that, when you're putting some data into Amazon S3, you have the option to encrypt also. Broad integration with AWS services. Now, as you learn more, when you start learning, DevOps and things like that, when you do Docker and Ansible and Chef and Python and all those things, the automation in Amazon Cloud, you will see a great use of AWS services taking advantage of S3. They can all take advantage. And also you can see that, as I said, CloudWatch, CloudTrail, even notifications, Lambda is a whole lot of functions that you can write, These are all used by DevOps administrators and programmers. EMR, Elastic Map Reduce, this is actually the Hadoop clusters and Redshift clusters, data warehousing clusters. They all actually utilize S3 to store uh, terabytes of data. You cannot think of storing these kind of big data in EBS volume. You have to have a cheap and highly reliable storage, and that is where S3 come into picture. So getting on to the pricing part, Amazon S3. Again, Amazon S3 is also free tier. You get it up to 5 gigabyte of Amazon S3 standard storage, up to 20,000 get request and 20,000 put request, and 15 gigabyte of data transfer out of each month for 1 year. For 1 year, every month you get 5 gigabyte free space. You can store up to 5 gigabyte of data for 1 month. Get request and put get is reading and put is writing. So you can put 20,000 write request and 20,000 get request. If I am putting my videos there and you guys are downloading, okay, 20 people downloading my videos, it is 20 requests. If I put it into Amazon, it is 1 request. So that type of, you may wonder, okay, 20,000 is a large number, but that is not the case. When you configured your application to write your logs there, or when you configure your application to read the data from S3 on a complex web application, you will be doing a lot of reads and writes and all. So this 20,000 will just fly away like that. I know companies write millions of gets and millions of puts into S3. So there is a cost for it, but in the free tier you get that. And then also 15 gigabyte of data transfers. The data that you're transferring between S3 or between regions, you can do up to 15 gigabyte of data transfer. That means you can also take it out. If you're putting something and you're taking out, up to 15 gigabyte is free. Okay. Now, storage pricing. Amazon S3 pricing is actually varies a lot by region, because the more storage, I think definitely Virginia is probably the cheapest. I have never checked. I think I checked in the past, but you can check each of the regions and see where you get a better price. Now keep in mind, the more distance that you go, you're going to add some latency to it, so you're going to have some performance problems. So it's always recommended to have your S3 storage near to your servers or near to your application or near to your customers. So keep that also in mind. So here is the pricing. Amazon S3 has 3 different tiers of storage. We will look into that. One is called as S3 standard storage. That is the normal S3. When everybody talk about S3, it is about S3 standard storage. Then there is another thing called standard infrequent access storage. These are a little more low quality storage. When I say low quality means, if you're trying to read and write into a standard infrequent, it will be much more slower and latency will be more high compared to the standard storage. So if you're looking for high performance, if you're looking for faster responses, you definitely want to store your data in standard storage. But there is an option for infrequent access storage. That means the infrequent itself answers your concern there. If you have some data that is very infrequently accessed, maybe your old facts or old images or some old data that you want to store. Why do you want to store it in standard storage? Paying more money, you can put them in infrequent storage. And then the last is actually called as Glacier. Glacier is like the coldest storage, very slow but very cheap. Look at it, the price for 1 gigabyte of a Glacier storage is 0.00004 cents. It's not even 4 cents, it's 0.004 cents. That is the price of that 1 gigabyte of data. Whereas look at for infrequent, it is 23 cents. It's not 23 cents. it is 0.023 cents per gigabyte. Per gigabyte, it is only 0.23 cents. So the first 50 terabytes, it's always calculated on a per month basis. So you will not be, you have, just imagine that you have unlimited storage. You never have to go and buy 100 or 200 or 500. No, what you put, you pay for it. Okay. Whatever you put there, you pay for it. And it is on a monthly basis. If you put 1 gigabyte of data, it is going to cost you this much money. That is for 1 month. After 1 month, you delete it, you will not be paid. But if you get on to the next cycle, you will be charged. The next 450, from 50 terabytes to 450 terabytes, it is actually, you can see that a small price reduction. And if it is more than 500 terabytes, it is actually even more cheaper. And look at the pricing here for Infrequent and Glacier. The price remains same, even though your amount of data that you're putting, even if you put 1 terabyte or 1000 terabytes, the price remains same for Infrequent and Glacier. But for Standard, the more data you put it, you will be charged less. There is also some detailed intricacies. If you want, you can get in and read it. Since I saw it, I just want to say in Standard Infrequent Access Storage has a minimum billable object size of 128 KB. That means even if you put a 1 KB file or 2 KB file, they're going to consider it as 128 KB. So just keep that in mind. Smaller object may be stored but will be charged at 120. You can definitely store a 1 KB file or 10 KB files, but it will be charged at 128 KB on every file. Also, another important point, objects that are deleted, overwritten, or transitioned to a different storage class before 30 days will incur the normal usage charge plus prorated request charge for the remainder of the 30-day minimum. Okay. So there will be a charge, prorated charge. If you delete that thing, it will be incur a normal usage charge plus a prorated charge. So even if you delete it, you're still going to get some charge for that. Okay. So keep that in mind. The next option is actually request, put request and get request. I told you how many, put, copy, post, list. These are all the different get, delete requests. These are all requests. These are all commands you are passing backend. You don't have to write those commands. Amazon AP Web Service APIs will do that for you. When you copy a file or drag and drop a file, automatically that put and get commands will be created. But you can do that through command line also, so through the CLI. But when you do a put and all, this is what it is. It is going to charge you $0.005 per 1,000 request. Anything you are putting, it is that much thing. Your request. This is not for the data. Any request you are trying to do, and it is 0.004 per get request. And delete request, if you're deleting thousands of files, it is free. Okay, that is for standard. For standard infrequent request, the same thing. If you're trying to put data in your infrequent access S3, the prices are little low compared to the other ones. Glacier request, actually, you know what? If you really look at this, is something interesting I wanted to talk. So for infrequent access, actually the cost is little high for request. If you're reading from, not for the storage is cheap, that, we saw that. The storage price for infrequent access is very cheap compared to standard thing. But when you're doing put and get and all these commands you are doing, actually infrequent access is a little more costlier in that. I don't know why, but that is how it is. So we had a scenario like this here. We were talking about storing, replicating our 500 plus production VMs into S3, and we wanted to keep them in infrequent access for a better pricing. But we see that when we are retrieving or recovering these machines during a DR time, it is going to cost us a lot more money because we were storing it in infrequent access. Okay. So Ravi is asking a question: what is the major difference between infrequent access and Glacier? The difference is actually the quality of storage. So for example, if you are putting it in a standard S3 bucket, you put a 1 gig file. I put a 1 gig video of my class in S3 standard, and you want to download that. You can download that probably in 1 minute or 2 minutes. If I put it in infrequent access, it might take probably 5 minutes to download because it is a much more cheaper, lower cold storage. It is a low storage. Maybe they might be using more deduplications and compression, and so it has to extract that file and give it to you. And if you put it in Glacier, it might take probably up to 1 to 3 to 4 hours to take that one file. So that's a difference, major difference, really. So the quality of the storage is what makes that different tiers different. Okay. We will see more of this as we move forward. Storage management, these are all I don't know, million objects listed. If you're putting that, there is this, you can see these. You got to understand everything is 0.00025 cents. Oh, okay, who cares? For million objects listed, if you're listing 1 million objects, are we ever going to have 1 million objects? We may think for a minute, but when your company grows big and just imagine a Dropbox company, everybody is using Dropbox. Dropbox is using S3. They will have definitely millions of objects. So if they want to list that, they're going to charge. So when big companies put a huge amount of data, Amazon makes a lot of money. So you can see that, just with S3 itself in different regions, different putting, getting, data management, they are charging money for it. And the most important thing you need to look at here is actually the data transfer pricing. What is the cost of putting some data into S3? What is the cost for getting some data into S3? So the beauty here is, and this is what Amazon wants, this is what every cloud providers want, and you might have heard, I was listening to the Google's, Sundar last year, he was releasing the newer Google Photos section and all, saying you put all your photos in Google Drive or Google Storage or something and it is free. You might have all heard that, you can put all your photos. They're saying don't put it in your computers anymore. Put all your photos in Google and it is free. Every cloud provider, in fact, encourage the customers to put their data into there. Once they get in, you're locked. So you are locked in that stage. That is why they want it. So here it is, the thing for Amazon, all data transfer in. Any data you are putting into Amazon is this much price. It is free. So I am uploading all my videos into Amazon S3. I don't have to pay a single penny for uploading those data. It can sit there and I have to pay for that storage. Yeah, if I use 5 terabyte of storage, I have to pay for 5 terabytes every month on a 0.0025 per gigabyte. But data transfer out from Amazon S3, if you are taking it out to your network, it is going to cost you some money. Okay, now you need to find out what is cost each regions. Within the regions, it is okay, free. If Amazon EC2 in Northern Virginia, so if you're doing, between the regions, it's free. But if you're taking out, it is called. If you're moving across another region, it is 0.020 for region. Data transfer out from Amazon S3 to internet. If you're taking data to internet, and that is what you guys do. If you're taking 1 gigabyte per month, it is free. Up to 1 gigabyte, they are giving it free. But up to 10 terabyte, you guys, I'm already past that stage. You guys are all downloading my videos, and it is not one person downloading the video, 20 people downloading the videos. Each video is probably 200 MB or 500 MB. So 1 gig will be over when 2 people or 3 people downloads. but rest all I will be paying that money for it, and there will be a charge for my thing. And you can also take a look at it. Let's take a look at my billing dashboard. So the class is going on so far. Let's take a look at and see what my billing is. Where my bill is right now. Okay, here it is, dashboard. Look at it. My price is actually shooting up now. I'm already current. Today is it's already they putting so current month today is February. They started actually. They use the UTC time 5 hours ahead of us. That is why it is changed. But look at it. Last month January my bill was up to $55. In fact, I just wanted to also remind you guys about my billing alarm. Did anybody got a billing alarm? I actually got I couldn't find it, but I did receive an email notification from my billing when my billing crossed $25. So I think maybe how is your accounts, guys? Is it going crazy? How is your accounts? Or is the billing is normal? Are you guys really using it? I mean, if you're using it, I know Kashif is probably trying that. I know a couple of people play around with it, but I don't know about others. But it's not going to cost you. You see that we built so many servers, we deleted servers, we created IP. I have 4 IP addresses, so many things, and my bill was only $55. Okay, so Kashif is saying his bill is only $1 so far. So Devinder is asking, he wants to see a breakup of my $58. Absolutely. If you go here to the bills, if you look at my January 2000 bill, here is the breakups. You can see my entire thing. By looking at here itself, I can see that $35 is for my Elastic Compute Cloud. And in that $35, the biggest bill is definitely going to be $18 is, see, you can see that I have that Windows Server with SQL Standard. It's running. Yesterday I forgot to shut down my VMs, I think, So every pricing is clearly defined here. Every data transfer, everything is clearly written here. You can see my Elastic IP addresses, you can see my Elastic IP addresses. See here, 1 hours, I'm already paying $2.48 for my Elastic IP addresses. So everything is, I think, my snapshots, I have quite some snapshot and I'm paying $76 for that, SSD drive. So everything is clearly mentioned here. And what is this data transfer? See, you guys are downloading the video, and that is the data transfer fee. I'm using that much 0.2 GB. I'm getting that $8 for data transfer. Let me see. I think I forgot to shut down my instances yesterday night, and I may be definitely paying some money. Yes. See, this is where my cost goes. Every day I miss it. Let me shut down this. I don't want these instances to be running actually.
Is there any way we can shut down those instances automatically if we set a time every
You could
night 12 o'clock
actually,
mention
yes, very good question. Actually, there is a company called Schedly. You can use Schedly to actually configure. In fact, I was looking for one of my customer in New York. I'm actually making a architecture for them today. I can probably show you. I was actually working on that. I was actually doing all these things, designing their network and things like this. It's a small company. They wanted to move to cloud, so I was designing this. It's just one region. They have 5 regions. They wanted to build a data center. So he was asking about scheduling. So basically, there is a lot of things you can use Schedly, and Schedly is actually free. There are quite some options are free, and also I think it is mentioned here free usage tier, creation of 10 free EBS snapshots. If you have 10 VMs, and you can always create snapshots free. You can 31 free EC2 start instance actions. You can EC2 instance actions, that means stop an instance, start an instance. So 31 actions are free. 31 stop actions are free. So if you have just one instance or two instances, you can actually stop them on a daily basis, and you can schedule them. So they have these schedulers when it will actually do that for you. Okay, so Schedly is a good software to start with. All right, so this is Amazon S3. The transfer pricing is all there. This is all important, good stuff. Then we will get on to the storage classes here, and we will pretty much go through this quickly. I know somebody asked me, Amazon S3 offers a range of storage classes. So basically they have Amazon S3 standard, Amazon S3 infrequent access, and then the last one is for archiving purpose. It's purely very cold storage called Amazon Glacier. I just wanted to quickly go through that. Amazon S3 offers high durability, availability, and performance. It is low latency and high throughput performance if you use Amazon S3. It is designed for durability up to 11 nines. Availability is 99.99 over a given year. It is backed with Amazon S3 service level agreement, so you can go and look at that agreement, what is the availability they are offering. It supports SSL encryption of data in transit at rest, both. Okay. So the data encryption is taken very seriously by Amazon. Anything you are putting or taking out, that is the data in transit, that is encrypted, as well as you have an option to put the data that you're storing also, you can encrypt. That is called the encryption at rest. Lifecycle management for automatic migration of objects. Great feature. Lifecycle management. In our office, we get a lot of images, check images or some images, and we store these images in our S3 buckets. Some images are big, some images are small, but on a daily basis we will be getting gigabytes or terabytes of images from different business units, and we store these images in S3. But I have a lifecycle management. Automatically I can transfer the data from S3 to infrequent, and from infrequent to Glacier and things like that, and then I can say expire it after 7 years. So you have a good lifecycle management capability available with S3. Sridharma is asking a question. Let me see, what is that? I see RRS also reduced redundancy storage as one of the storage class. Where did you see that? I think it is there. I have seen, maybe there, maybe. Where did you see that, Sridharma? In Cloud Guru? I didn't understand. Can you speak for a minute, Sridharma?
Yeah, Deepu, Cloud Guru is one of the a certification website. So
Okay.
we'll have lifetime access if we pay like around $15 or $20.
Okay.
No, this is not the portal. A different portal.
Okay.
It's a Cloud Guru.
What is that?
A Cloud Guru.
I don't know. Can you?
Actually, it's a
Somebody type
training
it.
website.
Can you type it?
Yeah.
Everybody is using cloud, man. A Cloud Guru.
It's .in. Sorry, it's a cloud.guru. Yeah. It's a training website, and he says about the
We need to log in.
S3 reduced redundancy storage, and it's
Okay. Maybe it's good, I never see, but getting training, these are $20, $25, and if you're preparing for exams, I would strongly recommend this. You're never going to be losing anything. You will be learning new things and things, but as far as I know, these are the things. We are looking at the Amazon storage. There is RR is I think infrequent access is probably they're talking about. Okay, reduced redundancy. Okay, Shyam is sending. I don't know what is that. I never. I think I heard about it, but I'm not very sure. Okay, here it is. Somebody. This is how I learned some stuff. That's good. Okay. All right. I think when we get on to the storage, we will see the pricing. But one thing I just noticed here is, Amazon is not replicating that objects as many times as standard S3. So the durability and availability of that is actually comparatively low, but they are giving you a much more cheaper option. It is definitely sure because they are not replicating your data to 5 different storage arrays. They are putting it in one place and giving you that. So if you are concerned about the availability of your data, something goes wrong, this may be a very good option for storing videos and things like that, or if you're doing some big data analytics and you wanted to parse the data, map reduce kind of things, you could actually probably use this. We will see when we get on to S3, we will see whether we can see this S3 redundancy storage. I heard about this, but I never really came. I think it is just a part of S3 standard itself. But here also see that even though they are saying S3 reduced storage, here they are talking about the same thing, standard infrequent, standard reduced redundancy storage. So that is the next version. I didn't know that. Okay, that's good. So, so here is designed to sustain the loss of data in a single facility. So the single facility means, if your data is lost in one availability zone, it may be okay. But if you lose 2 availability zones, your data is gone. There is no guarantee for that. Okay, good. Thanks. So this site is also those who are interested in taking certifications. Probably you may want to check that. Okay.
Actually, there's one more option for the same certification. In Udemy, those guys are giving it for $15 for the same. He just linked up with the iCloud Guru, so it's $15 rather than putting $25 on this. Udemy.
Udemy, okay.
UDMEY.
Okay.
So you can just search for AWS Solutions Architect exam.
Okay.
And they're partnered with the iCloud Guru, so they're just giving the same videos for $15.
So they give videos, or they give you some questions and answers also?
No, he specify according to the exam point of view, and one mega quiz.
Quizzes and some practice exams.
Okay. So how is it? You think it is good, useful?
Yeah, I've gone half of that, and it was useful. Yeah, he was just not giving a general thing, but he was very specific to exam point.
Okay. So you have to buy that videos, correct? Okay. They may be selling a lot. The people will be buying that to learn that.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Thanks. So Shyam, if you can send me that 2 links, it will be great. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So thanks, guys. So that's the thing. So now coming to infrequent access, you can see that the durability is there. There is also encryption at rest, and all those things are definitely possible. Lifecycle management is there for infrequent access also. That means from infrequent access, you can move your data to Glacier. Now Glacier is a secure, durable, extremely low costage storage service for data archiving. So it is for data that you may never wanted it. But the only thing is, keep in mind, if you store a large amount of data, it will take a lot of time to retrieve it. So you can see that, to access the archives, it may take from few minutes to several hours. So if you are in the middle of a DR and, you have an issue and you have 10 terabytes of data that you stored in Glacier, and if you try to retrieve that data for a DR purpose, it may be a painful process. So you never want to do that. So a lot of people look at that as a costly option, very cheap option. But this is the problem with it. If you store it in Glacier, it is going to take a lot of time for the data to come up. Okay. So that is in general about S3. I hope you all got an idea about S3. Now let us go and see how this S3 really works. So if you go here S3, you can see that the Glacier itself, they have a separate stuff, but I'm going to go to S3. So when you go to the S3 console, this is what is called as the S3 console. Somebody was showing me other day there is an advanced option. I never explored that. This is what I am familiar with, so I will stick with this thing. So S3, what you see here, these are called buckets. Okay. Now, definitely I want you guys to read more about getting started guide is there to read and understand more about S3. But you can create a bucket. But when you create a bucket, a bucket is a container for objects stored in Amazon S3. When you create a bucket, I told you buckets are region specific. You have to choose a region to optimize for latency, minimize cost, or address regulations. Now, there are certain things, there are regarding bucket naming conventions. Please, there are some naming conventions. You cannot use capital letters nowadays. I think earlier they used to support. The main and most important thing is a bucket name is unique across the world. If you try to create a bucket called Vijay or Sunil, I'm sure you will not be getting that bucket in any of the regions. Now, when you click on the regions, you see all these regions. Do you see Virginia here?
No,
Why is that?
because S3 is like region specific, right? You told. I don't know.
No, I told S3 is region specific.
No, because Sunil is in, in Virginia maybe.
So, US standard is actually Virginia. Okay, US standard is also called as Virginia. Keep in mind, so many places they use the word US standard because that was their first region, and that is where they developed everything. So they cannot change the naming standards because of certain things, because the many things are already there. So US standard means Virginia. Okay, just keep that in mind. Not only in this S3 cases, in subnets, and when you create VPCs, and in certain cases you will come across the same issue. If anywhere you see US standard, that means Virginia, but rest all regions has their own name. So I'm going to create a bucket called Sunil and I'm getting an error message. The requested bucket name is not available. The bucket namespace is shared by all users of the system. Please select a different name and try again. So you cannot create a bucket with the same name. Okay. If anybody is using, so if you create a bucket and you delete it, you may not be getting that name again, because it takes some time for Amazon to get it flushed out from the cache. And also, if you create a bucket, I would say stay with it. If you try to delete and try to recreate it, you may not be able to do that. So let us create a bucket for our class 10 purpose. I will call it as Solvin class 10 is the name of the bucket. I'm pretty sure I will get that name. So I'm creating a bucket called Solvin class 10. That is the bucket, and I'm going to create that bucket. So
Deepu, I have a question here actually. So what's the total size of the data like a bucket can hold? It is like a 5 terabyte or
no,
how
there
much?
is unlimited.
Oh, okay.
But the biggest data object, the size of an object is 5 terabytes. That means if you can put a file, you can put a file up to 5 terabytes in size, but you can put hundreds of 5 terabyte files there. It is unlimited storage.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So we created this bucket. When you create a bucket, you can see the bucket has a name. Bucket will definitely represent in which region it is. It says who is the owner of it. It shows you, who has permission to it. Right now I created, so I have the permission. So you can have list, upload, delete, view permission. You can add more permission. There is also a permission called bucket policy. I will quickly talk about that. I'm not going to get into it deeper into it, but you need to know some JSON scripts and things like that to do it. But there are some bucket policies. You can apply certain policies. We haven't learned policy, so I would probably come back and talk about this little later, because you need to understand what is a AWS IAM policy and bucket policy. So we'll see that. So you can actually attach policies. Policies are nothing but a set of rules and permissions you can apply to a bucket. One of the main thing Amazon and a lot of companies is using is you can actually use Amazon bucket as a website. If you want to, just imagine 4 years back or 5 years back, if you want to create a website for your daughter or for your friend, a static website, and many companies still have static websites, you have to go and register a domain name in GoDaddy, correct? Then you have to buy a launching, what is that called, the website hosting package, it will cost you $120 or something every year, right? So here is the thing. If your website is just a static website, you can just use an S3 bucket and create a website. So you can actually use that to store the thing. So what I'm going to do here is, guys, let me show you now. I am going to put a file. Let us just move forward with it. I wanted to put a file, mywebsite.html. Let me see, what is this? Okay. I have this file called HTML file called hello world. Okay. I am going to put that file into this folder, into this bucket. Okay. So I'm actually dragging and dropping it here. You can drag and drop it actually there. What happened? Actually, drag and drop should work. I think it's the browser problem. So I'm going to upload it. You can just click on upload, add files, desktop. I have this file called mywebsite.html. Where is it? Yeah, here is that file, and uploading that file into the bucket. Now this is the file. So this is not a bucket. This is a file or an object inside a bucket. So I'm coming to the properties of that. You can see this is the URL for it. I can give here, come here, I can give a permission for that file. I'm giving, everyone has an open download permission, but this is not the thing, so I'm just saving it here. So you come to the bucket here, that is the parent bucket, and there is something called a static web hosting. So you can come here, and this is your endpoint. I will talk about it. You can say enable web hosting, so that bucket, so all your website, your website will have an index.html file, and then your home page, your images, your other files. I mean, that is your programmer do, it will have connections between all the files. You can put all your files into this, your website, your static website file here, and then you can actually say enable website hosting, and then you say what is your index file, if you have multiple things. So in this case, actually, we have to put our index file, my website, the main file. The first file you want to hit is actually my website.html. I don't want to put anything, I can say, you just put a log file there. That is it. You can custom rules automatically to redirect. You can do those things. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay. So you can do that, and you can click on the save button, and now you have your website. So now all I need is you just take this, endpoint, you can put this in S3 and you can create it. This is the actual URL for your solving10.website.amazon.com. I am going to copy this file. So you can see that this is a URL. Now I created a website for myself so fast, and I'm sending you the link. Can you guys access that website? Now this is a long URL. If you put that into Amazon Route 53, you can make it into your own name, sunilkumar.com. You can put your registration name and you can put that link there. It will work. So are you guys able to access that website? It is as simple as that. Now from that homepage, you will have another link to another one. That bucket, you made it as a website, so you can use that for hosting websites. I'm sure everybody will be able to access that now, right? It is not just file, it is a website. It is working as a static website, globally accessible. Now this is your URL, but you don't want to have this such a thing. So you can go to the Route 53 and create an alias for it. You can say, hey, okay, this link is www.sunil.com. So when you type sunil.com, it will automatically redirect here. Yeah, Devinder, go ahead, your question.
So the S3 bucket you have now for our video files, you can publish those video files in this website, and if you give us a link, we should be able to see all the 9 videos and we can download them, right?
Correct, I can. But then you will be sending that to 200 people and everybody will be downloading that also.
Not me.
No, I mean, you understand what I mean. So that is why I'm not publishing it as a website.
I know your intentions, but hey,
No, I know. I was just kidding, okay, Davinder. I know you for many years, okay, so I was just kidding. But that is the reason I am not doing that. But otherwise, yes, absolutely, your question is very valid. You can put it in a website, a bucket, publish it as a website, and then all I need is just put the link and you guys can download it right from there.
Yeah, maybe you can kind of at some point, if not now, maybe you can demonstrate us that particular how you do it, and then you don't have to keep it alive. You can kill it, but it will be a good example for us to see how that gets done.
What is get done?
The video files, because usually that's one nice way to use S3 buckets is that you can put some files for your business or for your even friends and relatives, and you can send them just a link of a site and they can go and download.
Oh yeah, I mean, that is just a file, and I'll show you exactly that. So so if you go back here and you look at the AWS class 10, and this is the last 3 classes file, 26th and 27th file. So what I do is, this is a bucket. I have not set any permission to the bucket. I am not publishing my bucket. It is just a bucket where only I have access. So if you click on the bucket and look at the properties of the bucket, you will see that the bucket has permission only to me. Nobody has any permission or anything. I have not enabled any websites or anything here. Do not enable website hosting. It is not a website hosting. This is a bucket where I'm storing objects, each object. So when I click on that each of the file and then I'm coming here, this is the automatically Amazon creates a link for you there. And this is the link I am sharing you by providing exclusive permission to you guys. I'm providing the permissions here who can access that. I can do that on a user basis, and I can do it in a different ways. But what I am doing right now is probably, in a different way. I'm actually giving everybody permission. That's why I wanted to delete that file. So if you send that file to anybody, they can all download that file. I'm giving everyone download access. So you guys are able to download that because of that. Is that what you asked?
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, you're clear, right? That is how you do that, okay?
Right.
Okay, so let's go back to our thing. So you understand, you can, one of the main thing with a bucket is actually, you can actually create websites with that. Next thing is actually logging. I'm not going to do that, but I just wanted to go through all these properties. When you have a website, you want to know, who is requesting, from where the requests are coming. There will be a lot of traffic coming there. So you can enable logging to track request access to this bucket. So you can actually enable that logging. It will automatically put that in a bucket. So you can pick any one of your bucket. You can select one of your bucket and you can actually store that in that bucket. You create a bucket and then put it. It automatically create a folder called logs and it will store all that. So then when you want it, you can actually go and take a look at those things. For example, I'm just showing a CloudTrail logs. If you go here, this is how the Amazon log stores the logs. We will see that later. If you go to this, you can see the logs and the folders and things like that. You can see the millions of files. They store it here for different. This is actually CloudTrail logs. We will learn CloudTrail, maybe one of the most powerful auditing and logging techniques in Amazon. This is what exactly our company depends on for all alerts. If anything happens, if anybody logs in, if somebody logs in and he get an access denied, if somebody tried to delete something, if somebody deletes or start an instance, I immediately get an automatic notification. How do I know if somebody starts an instance? How do I know? Last night we got an alert from one of our ELB node went down. One of the web servers in our public-facing website went down, and it was an emergency on-call alert. And that alerts are all created using CloudTrail. So we will learn how to create CloudTrails later, but you can actually store your logging information in these buckets. So logging is very important. If you're doing websites, you may want to do logging. Events, you can create events notifications for that. If somebody access things like that, I don't think anybody really use it. You can send notification. Remember, we talked about SNS notification. We will learn more about how to send Amazon simple notification services. It can also be used for queue managers. I don't know anything about queue managers. Those who know MQ and RabbitMQ and things like that probably know how to use queues, but you can use that to do queues also. I'm not very familiar with that. The next thing is actually the most important thing, and this is where we talked about versioning. Versioning allows you to preserve, retrieve and restore every version of every object stored in the bucket. So you can enable versioning for your files. So as you make modifications to your file, you keep merging it, Amazon will keep multiple versions of it. So if you want to do that, you have to enable, it's a bucket-wide option. It is not for a single file. Remember that. When you enable versioning, you're enabling for a bucket, not for an object inside the bucket. So you can enable versioning, and once you enable versioning, then Amazon will start keeping. So if you put some files and you delete it or something, Amazon will have a older version. So once enabled, versioning cannot be disabled, only suspended. So once you enable a bucket for versioning, then you cannot disable it, because versioning means it will be creating multiple files. Amazon loves that because they get more money. So keep that in mind also. If you enable a bucket for versioning and if it's keep on versioning, you're going to get a lot of charges for it. But versioning is really useful in certain scenarios. But you need to have versioning enabled if you want to do lifecycle management. Versioning is enabled. Without versioning, you cannot do lifecycle management. So you can manage lifecycle. So what is lifecycle? That is what I'm going to talk. This is how lifecycle is actually a set of rules that enables you to automatically transition objects to standard infrequent access storage, storage class, or to Glacier, or any other different thing. If you want to move a file from standard to infrequent access to Glacier, you have to use lifecycle management. So
People have a question.
Yeah.
So when you mean versioning of here, so is it same like a snapshot? So if I upload a 1 GB of file and later I make some changes to that, So it is going to keep only the changes or the whole file again?
It is not creating another file. They keep a track of what changes happening so that you can go back to your old versioning. It is only the changes are. They are not actually duplicating that file. No.
Okay. So if I upload 1 GB of file today and I have some more changes to that file tomorrow, so if I upload one more, suppose the new file is 1.1 GB, so they are going to charge for whole 2.1 GB or
No,
just
I think
the
it will be
1.1
charged.
GB?
Yeah, I think it will be only charged for the delta, man. I'm not really sure about it, but you may want to test it or something. But I'm not sure. My
Okay.
strong feeling is that it is only going to charge you for the excuse me, for the delta changes. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
We can probably, if you go to the details of this, you will definitely find out how that versioning works. I mean, we don't have time to go in that level of details, but you can definitely read it. Amazon will have everything documented very clearly there. So just type AWS S3 versioning and you will get the complete, there will be at least a big knowledge article just for that. So here is the rule, you can, if you want to create a bucket for versioning, apply a rule to the whole bucket, or you can do not versioning. Versioning is for the entire bucket, but you can do lifecycle management for a particular file itself, for particular object itself. But I'm going to do a complete entire bucket. I'm going to create a rule, and this is very beautiful and this is very nice. How do you do that? So lifecycle rules will help you manage your storage cost by controlling the lifecycle. It is definitely help you with your cost because you don't have to keep everything in your costly standard storage. But you see that I am not still haven't find that RR storage. What is that? Reduced what was
Reduce redundancy
redundancy? Yeah,
storage.
I haven't seen that option anywhere here, so I'm not sure where it is. Okay. Um, so maybe in the other view it may be having that, I'm not sure, but in this option I'm not seeing that option, and that's why I was not, but I heard about that somewhere anyway. So you can create lifecycle rules to automatically transition to objects to standard infrequent storage class or archive them to Glacier and things like that. So here is what it is. I'm going to say transition to the standard infrequent. So your file, that HTML file is right now in standard storage. I am going to say this is there are certain minimum days. Okay. After 30 days, I don't think you can put after 20 days you can do that. I think that option is not available. You see that? A minimum of 30 days is required to transition to the standard. So you cannot put a file in standard storage and then the next day you cannot move it to the thing. It has to be there at least 30 days. Okay? So, or more. So you are saying, okay, 30 days standard infrequent access 30-day minimum retention. See, that is it has 30 minimum days, and the thing, so it will be there for 30 days, and after that you can say after 60 days, or whatever days you can move it to Glacier, and then actually I can say, okay, after 2 years or after 800 days delete that file. You can see here, here is the example. They're saying on January 31st, day 0, you uploaded an object into the storage, object uploaded, current version, that is your first version, you uploaded that version into that. After 30 days, it will be the rule transition, it will move to standard infrequent access, and then it will current version storage class standard infrequent, it will remain there for 60 days, and after 60 days it will move to Glacier, and after 60 days, or 425 days, it will move to delete. It will expire that. So you can do the same thing on your previous version also. What we did is actually for your current version of the file. If you want to do the same thing for your previous versions, you can do that also. Okay. Action on incomplete multi-part uploads. So multi-part uploads is, I told you, right, if you have a large file, Amazon has a capability to break that file into smaller parts, and then it will upload it and then they will combine. So if you have a incomplete multi-part uploads and all, you can actually do that to delete it. I don't know what that is, but I just saw that first time. end and clean up incomplete multi-part upload. So I think there is an option to do that after 7 days or something, it will delete. I hope this is clear. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I believe everybody is clear. I'm not going to do this versioning, but you understand how you can move your data from, and this example is very clearly mentioned everything. So entire thing from how you do, this is called life cycle management. You're moving your data from standard to infrequent access to Glacier, and how you can do that and what are the days and things like that. And you also remember in 128 KB is the minimum size for storing data in infrequent access. So if you're moving a 1 KB file, they're still going to consider it as a 128 KB file. Is that clear? Remember, if you want to do lifecycle management, versioning has to be enabled. If you do not have versioning, you cannot do lifecycle management. So it has to be turned on. Versioning can be done on a particular file or an object, but lifecycle can be done on individual file, but versioning is on a bucket. The next option is actually the cross-region replication. This is actually, we use that a lot for our snapshots. We do snapshots and we do create images. You all know what an image is, correct? We take images of our servers, correct? A full image. You can take snapshots of your disk. Why are you doing that? Why are we doing images and snapshots?
So that you can always revert back to the old states.
Correct.
Any problem.
So you are doing that, and then if there is a regional disaster happens, something happens, and entire Virginia is down, you cannot say that. If there is a natural disaster happens and entire Virginia is gone, what happens to your data? You have snapshots, you have images, but all your images and snapshots are stored in S3, and that is in the same region. If you lose that entire region, it's a problem. So it is up to your company to make that decision whether you want a regional disaster recovery plan or not. So if that is your option, and if you have some data that needs to be available even after a regional disaster, you may want to do this cross-region replication. Again, cross-region replication requires versioning. So you can actually enable cross-region replication. So I'm saying, okay, enable cross-region. I'm going to say, okay, this bucket, or I can prefix to this bucket. Prefix means you can specify a particular file in that bucket to be do that. You can actually specify that, add a prefix. You can specify that thing. I'm actually going to do this entire bucket. S3 will replicate all future. Now that is the very important thing. Read that line very carefully. Can anybody tell me what is that means? S3 will replicate all future uploads. That means, is it going to replicate my website.html? No. It will only replicate the doing. So if you want to enable replication, if you're planning to do that, make sure you create the bucket and the settings prior to putting your files. But once you put the files, it will not replicate. Okay. So you can do that, and you can specify your region. I wanted to send it to Oregon, and in Oregon, you can create a new bucket. Otherwise, it is going to create a bucket. I'm going to call it as DR Solvin class 10. Okay, I'm just creating it. I'm creating a bucket in Oregon for now, and then destination storage class. Now you also have an option to which storage class you want to do that. Okay, here it is, reduced redundancy storage. I just see the first time. So when you're doing that option, you are getting that option of reduced redundancy storage, and you know that reduced redundancy storage has certain limitations. It's not going to give you high availability, high durability, but it is very, very cheap. So you are doing this as a last option for your DR. You have your entire data in your own region, highly available, 11 nines. So you're doing this only in case there is a 1 in 10,000 chance that the entire region can go down. If that happens, you can get your data in Oregon or in Mumbai or in Singapore, wherever you want, I think at that point probably you could think about keeping that in reduced redundancy where you will get a big cost benefit depending on your data. Okay, so so that is the option. So you can select where you want to store it. I'm going to use S3 standard for now. I think we need to create a role here to do that. I didn't talk about roles and things like that. You can actually create a role and do that. I don't want to get into that. We'll talk about roles, but I think it will automatically create a role, and that's fine. We will talk about roles and the purpose of roles and all. Roles are nothing but a set of permissions that you're giving to a particular object or a user or things like that. So I'm just doing that. And now we enable cross-replication is currently enabled for this bucket. Now that being said, it is the replication is turned on. So I'm going to upload another file into this bucket. Let's say, I just put this Aja Nachle song to that. Let's see what happens. So I'm uploading that song into my bucket and it will be immediately replicated. Yes, Yogendra, that's a good song. My daughter sings a lot, so she has all these.
Yeah.
So now this time I'm doing a cross-region replication. You keep in mind I'm not only paying for the storage in Oregon, I'm also going to pay for moving that file from Virginia to Oregon, and I will be paying for that also. So, so if I go to thing, so you don't need to go anywhere. You can see that when you do S3, you always see global, even though it is region specific. But you can see, when you create a bucket, you have to specify which region is. But you can see all your buckets. So you will see the DR folder somewhere here. Here itself it will show. Let me just refresh it. It is not created. Yeah, here it is. See, DR solving class. So it's all global. But is this bucket in Virginia or is it in Oregon? You click on that bucket, it will tell you where it is. It is in Oregon, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but there is no data here, so I think it is not been replicated. It will come, let us just wait for some time. It will come up here, okay? We just uploaded that thing, so it will come up here. Now, if you want, you can do the same settings here also. You can replicate it to another location and all. So let's go back to our bucket.
For this, versioning is enabled, right? Automatically, because I've seen a note over there.
Sorry, what is that?
Versioning is applicable for the replicated objects.
Absolutely,
as well, right?
version is needed. Without versioning, you cannot do replication. Versioning is enabled at the bucket level, correct?
Yeah.
So you can see that our bucket is having a versioning enabled. So we have a versioning enabled, and we also have the cross-region replication is currently enabled. Existing objects, it is going to do it. Is going to put it in that folder. It already created that bucket. It will replicate. I think let's just wait for some time. Okay. So tags, I'm not going to get in. You can tag your buckets. You can do that. Requester pays. This is another thing. Maybe I can start doing that for you guys from tomorrow onwards. When you download a video, I can just enable this option so that if you have a Amazon account, page disable the ability anonymous access, so I can give access to you guys, and then you will have to pay for downloading the song. So this is how probably maybe Netflix and all is doing that. If you want to download a movie, or there are many sites that provides softwares and things like that. Okay, you want to download that, you pay for it. So there is a requester pays option is there. I never explored these options. Even though in my business, I never had these requirements, but there is an option to do that. Transfer acceleration is a new capability that Amazon added recently. Amazon S3 transfer acceleration makes data transfer in and out of S3 buckets as much as 300 times faster, and only charges if there is a performance improvement. Now, this is not required for normal usage, normal people. If your company is doing, multimedia things and all, let's say something like Netflix or something where you want to upload a new video, new movie is released, and that movie needs to be replicated to all the regions and things like that, or you want to transfer that movies to the bucket or download the movie very fast. People all wanted to download them fast. So that is why they created this feature. This feature was added probably like 3 or 4 months back. Transfer acceleration, and they are saying that it could give you around 300% faster, and only in that case you need to pay for it, and only charges if there is a performance. So Amazon is not 100% guaranteeing that, but they will say that if you get that 300% faster transfer rate, you will get charged for it. So that is actually, you can enable that for transfer acceleration. Okay. Storage management, I don't know what storage management now available in the new console option, opt-in to try storage management. So there is a new console for it. I know we talked about it. I really never looked into it. It is pretty much the same concept, same things, but you can see the buckets, you can see the properties in a different way. Versioning, static website, logging they have in a different. I'm still very irritated with this view, but it is the same thing that we learned is what it is here. Permissions and management, it is much more, a little more easier with respect to doing that. But I think the good thing that here I see is actually these analytics. You can see what type of data, what percentage of data. You can do some analysis and things like that, some metrics and things like that. Amazon S3. Let me take a different bucket and see how that will look like in a management view. Metrics. Okay, you can see that some bucket size, how much data is there. It will give you number of objects. I have this many objects in that, things like that. Inventory, it will probably show you all any inventory reports, analytics. So I don't know these things. These are something new they added, but this is a totally different view. Now, how do we go back to our old view? Somebody told me other day. I think I can just go like this.
You need to go, yeah. You need to go to the, right on the top corner, below the documentation heading, right corner.
Thanks. So that is actually S3. I hope it was clear for all of you. You guys can try. You can use this for versioning. You can use that for hosting websites. You could do a lot of things with that. Let me see, is that our file has come to here? No, it is still not at come. Why is it not coming?
It stores in a small file.
Yeah, I'm just going to try that. But I think the bucket, the name is a little here. The bucket name is Sovin Class. I think the name. Did I use the same name? Yep. All right. So let's upload one more single small file and see. Okay, one more thing I wanted to show you is actually when you do, you can see that S3, everything is S3 based in Amazon S3. When you do, everything is actually, encrypted. But you can also, how can I make sure that this file is encrypted? So if you want to do that, when you are uploading a file and you are going to upload this file, let's say about us dot, you upload it here, and then you come here. There is an option called set details. In the set details here, you can say where you want to store it. You want to store it straight to. You see here that is actually, I see the option use reduce redundancy, or you want to store it straight to infrequent access. You could do that, or you can store it in your standard. But there is an option to use encryption here. So if you want to use encryption, use the Amazon S3 service master key. So we will talk about this AWS key management service. This is again a key management service for encryption. You can have, in this case, you will be managing the encryption master key. If you lose that master key, forget it, your data is gone. Nobody can help you in that. Maybe some Russian hackers probably could break it, but I think that will be a risky affair. So if you are using your own key management service to encrypt your files, you are in charge of that key. But where normally people do is use Amazon's master key. In this case, any data that you will be stored in that object will be encrypted, and S3 will use its own master key for that. So if you want to encrypt a data that you are putting there as a double safety, you could use the server-side encryption technique. And I would say, you may want to read that a little bit more to understand. So when you're uploading a file straight, you want to put it in S3 storage or standard infrequent or anywhere, you can do it like this in the details page. Otherwise, it will go straight to S3 standard. Okay. I also want to show you there is a free product. Let me see. I think I might have it here. It is called S3 Explorer. Give me 1 second. Let me find out where is that. Yeah. S3 browser. There are many tools that are available. S3 browser is a pretty good one. I like this. This is a free download, S3 browser. I would encourage you guys to use. So if you want to transfer files a lot, I don't use this much, but you can actually create your Amazon account. You can create an account here, and then you need to provide.
See it, right?
I'm sorry?
Share the screen. We cannot see the browser.
You cannot see my screen?
No. You're talking about some browser, right?
Now, are you able to see what I'm showing?
No, I only have your main screen, all the
What
files.
about others? Can you guys all see this?
Only your console is showing actually, Amazon console thing.
Is it?
Yeah, just a tiny bit of the web, the web browser is showing for the other thing, but we
Okay,
can just
what
see
you
the
are seeing
console.
now?
Just the Amazon console thing.
You have to move your window. Oops.
Okay, how about now?
The only console.
Okay, you can see the console now, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
only console.
Okay, fine. Okay, now let me bring that tool here. Where is it? I think I lost it. Where was it? Hold on 1 second here, guys. Oh, I opened it and I think I deleted that. Where is it? Okay, I think I screwed it up. Let me. Okay, what are you guys seeing now?
Yeah, now I can see it's transferring a file or something.
Okay, so you can see this S3 browser. This is called S3 browser, okay? Are you all able to see this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a free download thing, just for a way for doing it. So here you can come and create your own accounts, add a new account. So basically, if you have, you just give a name for, my account, and then you specify what is the storage type. You want S3 in China, government cloud. These are all different options, but S3 storage is what you want. So when you create a user, and we did look at AWS IAM uses. I know we didn't get into that level. We will be learning that, identity and access management. In identity and access management, you can create users and user accounts and all. So when you create a user, that user can have a access key and a secret key. So when you create a user, it will create an access key and it will also create a secret key. So you can use this access key and the secret key to connect. So you don't need any username or password, and you never give that. When you give for APIs and you're using command line operations, you never use username and password. You always use access key and secret key. This is how you actually connect to the thing. So every user account can have something like this. So do that. You copy that access key and the secret key, and you copy this access key and the secret key here and post it here. And then if you want to encrypt it, you can do that, and then you specify your add account. So once you do that, you can actually do that, my account or anything, edit. You just specify your class account and your access key and all, and then basically that's it. And then once you do that, they can actually see the thing. So now these users don't have permission. So what I'm going to do now is just for your purpose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this user, class 9 user. I'm going to give him some permissions. I'm going to give him some this is all changed actually. There is that policies. I'll do add inline policies. Okay. Yeah, here it is. So I'm giving him S3 full access for now. We'll talk about policies and all. There are different type of policies. AWS managed policies, customer managed policies, your own policies, how to create your policies, how to create the policies are nothing but all JSON scripts. So if you look at that, it is basically a policy is a JSON script. So we'll talk about how to do that. I'm not a JSON expert, but I think it is pretty easy to understand. So you create that policy to that user. So we come here and look at that policy, the user, and we will give him this S3 full access permission, review, add permission. So now the user has a S3 full access, correct? And now if you come here and manage accounts and say, my account, because in my account we are using the class 9 uses access key and the secret key. Do that and save changes and do that. I'm sure you will be able to see the buckets. It will come up here. Here we go. So now I can see all my buckets, correct? You can see all the buckets, you can copy the files, you can upload the files, you can delete and all those things. So this is probably, in my office, all our DBAs are actually using these tools to transfer their backups and stuff like that to S3. They don't use the AWS console. I don't want to give them AWS console access. I don't want my DBAs to get into console and do all that crappy things, So I want them to, all they wanted is to upload their SQL Server backups and stuff like that, and they wanted to put it in their buckets. So we gave them S3 browsers, and using that S3 browsers, they can actually upload and download whatever they want. So you can upload your files. It's very easy now, uploading files, just from your desktop. You can just drag and drop it. You want to download a file, the same as that, you can just download that file to wherever your folder. So if you guys want to do this S3 browser, do that. Go ahead and create a user, give that user an inline policy of S3 full access, and you will be able to do that.
Can we check the DR Sol class 10 again right now from here?
Yes, we'll see that.
Okay, still nothing.
It has still not yet come. I don't know why it has not come. It should have come. So maybe some problem, something wrong in what we did. Let's see.
Maybe Amazon has a time every an
No,
hour.
no. It
No?
should have come very easily. So there is something is wrong. Is it because we enable it for web hosting? No, that's not web hosting. The versioning is enabled. Cross replication. Do not. Haha. Oh no, we are on the other folder. No, we should not be doing this here. We should be looking at our parent folder, right? This is the folder. That's all looking good. The permission is correct. Roles are correct. I'm not sure, guys. We'll check it. I'll give you some more time, but I think that is not the thing. The replication. It should have worked very fast. Okay, here you see replication status pending. So we don't know what it is pending, but it is saying it is pending. You can see that the Aja Nachle replication completed. What about my website? It is not applicable. You can see the replication. So Aja Nachle is completed, it says. So that's a good sign. So let's go and look at that now. So it should be there now. Okay, it is there now. Okay. So it took some time, but I think it is doing the first file. So now we can see that the file has come there. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank
Yep. So this is how, I find out something, this is good. I mean, how do you find out? So it's there. You see that documentation is amazing in Amazon. I don't think you need to go anywhere. So that is basically about S3, guys. I think, we pretty much covered everything about S3. You know how to do that. Now, there are certain S3 commands and all you can do with command line CLIs. When I talk about CLI, I will probably show you how you can do certain things. How to get S3, Raj, just go to Google and type, download S3 browser. For Mac also is there. Just download that. Okay, it's a free download. It's a free software. There are different other tools are also available. Okay, how about we stop here, guys, today? Okay, so we'll move on. I think it was clear. Any questions, anybody? One thing I wanted to talk was actually the bucket policies. I think we'll talk tomorrow. I'm kind of tired a little bit. I need to do some stuff also. So S3 bucket policy examples. So I told you, you can put bucket policy examples So here it is. I just want to quickly show that, and you guys can figure out. I'm not going to do any testing here. Um, so um, so so grant read-only permission to an anonymous user. Okay, you want to give read-only permission to a particular anonymous users for a particular bucket. So this is the JSON script for that. It is very easy to do this. You just copy this thing. I mean, Amazon has outstanding restrict access to specific IP address. Now, if I want, Devinder not to upload and everybody else wants to upload it, I can specify his IP address if I know his IP address. Or sometimes you may don't want, these files to be downloaded in China. If you know the IP range, you can specify that thing and you specify your bucket name. So this is actually beautiful. There is a lot of examples here allowing IP version for restricting access to a specific, referrer. If you get more, it can get more complicated. But this is where you need to start with. As I said, I'm not a scripter, but you can even do MFA authentication for your thing, but it is all done through JSON scripts. Basically, it's policies, not JSON scripts. These are called policies. You can specify what permission, deny, get, S3, download, get object, put object, all that things. You can see that. So there are so many bucket policies are available for purposes. But right now, what I wanted to show you here is how I can configure grant a read-only permission to anonymous user. So what I do is actually, it is very simple. I just copy that script and then I'll go to my S3 and I'll go to my bucket and then I go to my bucket policies. So here is where you can see the permissions and you see the bucket policy here. In the bucket policy, I just put that here and then I specify my bucket name. Anybody remember our bucket name?
It's Solvents class 10, I think.
Yeah. So when you do that, it is basically, is giving a principal action, S3 get object. They are only able to get object. It is only read, get only. If I want to put object and things like that, there are many, S3 actions you can do that. You can also generate your own, thing, and you can see the sample bucket policies. There itself, there is all these things, sample bucket policies. You can see all these things. There are different bucket policies. So you can just put that policy here and then you save it. Your bucket is having that policy. So now only people can actually use this bucket policy, so this is how you can restrict. It can get very complicated, but I have seen, we have done something like this for our environment for certain specific reasons. I wanted certain domain users only to access it, certain people to only access it. So I contacted Amazon support and I told them, hey, this is what I wanted, and these guys were so damn good. They were able to provide scripts. Now there is also a lot of forums there. You just go and put your request in the forum and guys will quickly spin up a JSON script for you with your need, and all you need to do is change your folder name and things like that. Otherwise, once you get a format of something like this, it is easy to change it. So bucket policies are policies that you can apply to a bucket, and that will give a global permission to the thing. You don't need to go for individual users and things like that. Once you give a policy, and that policy will be applied to that bucket and all the objects inside that bucket. Does that make sense? So that is AWS S3. All good? So we'll stop here. Tomorrow there is class, but I just want to give you a heads up. There may be a chance I might cancel tomorrow's class. I really don't want to cancel it, but I will try my best to make it. I have a meeting at 6:30 tomorrow with one of my business partner guys. So I will be in Princeton, New Jersey from 6 to 8. I hope I'll be able to make it home by 8:39. Now here is the thing. If I cannot make it home, I won't be able to cancel it. So if you don't see me by 9:10, just imagine there is no class. Okay, I will not cancel the class, and 99% there will be class. I will try my best to make it here. So just keep that in mind. If there is no chance, then I might have to cancel it. Okay, but otherwise there is class tomorrow, and we'll have class on Thursday also. And one more thing for the people other than Avco, I send a mail for the payments. Appreciate if you guys could do that in the next 1 or 2 days. Okay.